So
I'm
I'm
going to
just
put
going
you on.
to explain briefly what the project is about, and then
Okay.
get into it. So this is the Caribbean People Oral History and Podcast Project, and it's a multimedia oral history in an attempt to gain knowledge about us in the Caribbean here and also in the diaspora. And it's a way to democratize and share knowledge. So it's going to be completely open access. So it will be available to all.
Okay.
And it's utilizing community storytelling and the approach is to collect stories and histories from various peoples and groups and organizations about numerous topics about culture and the environment, health, history, literacy. So that is our main focus here. Now, why don't you please introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about, why you selected history and culture, if I recall correctly.
Okay. Well, I am an author.
Mhm.
I have published three books in the series Oceans of Thoughts, and it's talking about my life experiences, like my autobiography, through poetry. My name is Rosalind Severin McClean from Dominica, West Indies. I currently live in New York,
Mhm.
and yes, so this is you said I chose history and culture. Well, I'm a cultural artist. I'm a cultural dance artist as well. Yes, I have done several dance performances. I had my own dance group, in cultural ballet, Dominica ballet, dance.
That is awesome. Could you tell me a little bit about that? Like how you got started in the dance community, how it expanded over the years?
Well, I always danced. I always in part of some dance performances. But with the ballet, I learned ballet in the 70s in Dominica. I used to be in a cultural group, and not a cultural dance group though, but I learned from two, three other ladies, young girls. We were all teenagers at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and they taught me ballet. And I took that ballet and I always dance. I mean, it's like it just came so natural after a while. Everything I do, the ballet comes in. And when I came to New York in the 70s, I expanded on the performances. I took African classes, West African dance classes. I took it at the Jamaica Art Center for about 7 years, my daughter and I. And in every performance with the African, I end up doing ballet. I remember the teacher saying to me, she's a Jamaican lady too.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Dion Kamara. She taught me West African. She was married to an African man, so she, I guess, pick up that, but. So I remember and the recitals, after you do the dance class for the year, you have dance recitals, and I would be the one, for a couple of recitals, solo in the West African piece.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be dancing the West African and then I'll break into ballet, not even realizing it's ballet I'm dancing because it becomes so much part of your makeup.
Mm-hmm.
And she would say to me, you dance with the spirit of the drums because we dance into drums.
Yes.
And I'd never heard about dancing to the spirit of the drums. Yes. And I began to understand and more inquire and understand more what she meant. And it really was my whole makeup, because everything I do would be the ballet. And then with that ballet, I performed in New York for the Dominica Association, called DADA, Dominica American Relief Association. And we have the National Day celebrations every November. And I danced ballet for them for over 30 years. Every year I would perform. And eventually I brought on a group, the Rosa Dancing Ballet, which is my own dance group with girls. I had young children and I had older adults, and we performed at the Dada celebrations and other celebrations too.
Were you also a choreographer?
Yes, yes, yes. For the Rosa Dancing Ballet, I choreographed all the scenes, all the dance productions. They were like more productions than a dance because I would bring in a lot of props And I had a river scene, a river scene where I brought in the sheets that the ladies, the children were dancing, and they would be the ladies washing the clothes in the river. I had the scrubbing brush like back in the day. I had the soap bar, the blue soap bar, and I would choreograph a dance production, dance performance, around what the story would be. I had the market dance, I had the flag dance, waving the flag, Dominica flag. I had one I call La Vie, because it's a fast, energetic dance. I had one called Ring Games in the Sun, where I brought in ring games of children, ring games in the schoolyard. I had the audience on their feet. They had the riverbank, the harvest in the riverbank. So I did 5 or so productions I had with Rosalind Severin Ballet. But besides that, I also choreographed for other groups, perform at the university, wherever they perform. Yeah.
So the dance choreography was a story in motion. And this
Yes.
story generally connects to your roots in the Caribbean or African roots. Could you tell me more about the art of storytelling through dance and how you connect to your Caribbean and African roots?
Most definitely, most definitely. I could start with one of the first ones I did, which is called the market dance. The market dance told a story of the ladies coming to the market with the produce, because I would have the real food baskets. I wouldn't use the pretense, but I use the real, go to the grocery store and get the real provisions, coconuts and whatever real stuff you're accustomed to. And I used the coquet broom, because in the story of the market scene, I had the children using the coquet broom, like they sweeping the yard, and piling the dust, and so the story that they will come in from the market, dancing the love, to sell, put their baskets down for the tourists and the market goers to buy the produce. And then I have them worshiping. They would be worshiping. It's a dance. It's all in dance, but it's like a worship of the produce that they got from the gardens. So they're worshiping it and taking it up to the inspiration, And then in the story, well, of course, you had the children with the coquet broom coming dancing with the coquet broom. After they finish it, they come up to dance and show the coquet broom in the air. And I had the umbrellas. Remember, I don't know if you're old enough to remember that the older people, older ladies, would be using a parasol.
Yes.
Because of the hot sun.
Yes.
So I had that improvised. I used colorful, but I used children's umbrellas, because children's umbrellas were colorful, the yellow, the different colors, and they're very cute. Right. So it's staged. So I wanted to look cute. So I would have each one of us, about 4 or 5 of us, put up those umbrellas in part of the dance, because we are showing how the sun is so hot, yet the ladies have to. We had a dance telling that story with them. So we had that all as part of one production, doing different things, to catch for the audience. Besides, when I do these sort of productions, I always use West African beat. For some reason, I could never get a ballet beat for what I wanted. So I guess because I was already dancing West African, that I had so much of that music with me. Yes. So I would use one of the recordings, and I had bought this CD from one of the guys drumming, and I used them. So all my productions had this story from Dominica. Well, of course, Dominica, that's where I am. And Dominica connects with all the Caribbean. Yes. So people are able to identify. Because when we performed the productions for other Caribbean audiences, they were all able to identify with the productions. Yes. So that's one of the dances that I did. The flag is very interesting, and that I've never seen performed anywhere. Well, of course not, because it was my creation. I always had my Dominica flags. Right. Like I collect. I have more. I have collection. And I said at that time, 2005, Dr. Roosevelt Skerritt was visiting and was going to be at the Dominica function. And I said, I have to do something that's different, that will be remembered. And I created the wave your flags to the air, the flag dance. And I had the children come in, Well, I tell you what, that particular flag dance and the market dance were on the same stage. Like we did the market dance and then we did the flag dance and then halfway. So when they came in to present, I had them huddle like a herd of cattle. That's like back in the day in the Indians. And so when they come in, they have the spear. Now the spear I had was sugar cane. Everything was just natural stuff. I had a long sugar cane. I went to the store, grocery store and I asked them and stuff and they ordered it for me. The long sugar cane. So the girls had the sugar cane, the children had the cocktail broom, and I made the costume and I made bells on your feet and bells on your hands. So when they came in, choo, 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 you heard the bells. Choo, 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 choo. Yes, you heard the bells, and everybody was looking, where is that coming from? And I remember telling the girls, we got them. So they were like hesitant. I said, no, we can do this. I see the vision, we can do this. And I told them, I said, we get a pin drop when they came in. Yeah, so we did this, that, and then we did the flag. I represented when you do the national day, I don't know how in Jamaica it is, but at home we had the National Day parade. And you had the school children marching, and then you did the eyes right salute. And so I had a dance choreographed around the National Day experience. Now the children they are born in the States, some born in Dominica, but they do not know that experience at home.
Right.
They are Dominican children, but they don't know that experience. They never had it.
Yes. How did you get them to connect with a part of their culture that was somewhat foreign to them? As being, some of them were born in America and they don't have the lived Dominican experience. So how did you get them to connect with that part of their culture?
Well, you know what? They have Dominican parents.
Right.
Like I'm a Dominican parent. My daughter was part of that. So constant talking to the children. They travel back and forth to Dominica. So they see things and they hear things and they look at videos and stuff like that. There was one little girl though who was born in Dominica. So I'm not sure if she was quite young when she came here. So I don't know how she experienced that, maybe going to see the parade. But a lot of the children knew already, because we always talk about it. We connect the children to the experience, so they already had the experience without experiencing it. Understand? So, and while I am teaching the choreography, I'm explaining, and the constant explaining and bringing them back to stories, what went on there. I even tell them my experience, because I marched a lot for Dominica. I was a Girl Guide, I was a brownie, I marched in the school, I even fainted the days when you're in the hot sun and then you just fainted, So
yeah,
I was that?
I was a brownie.
You're brownie too?
Yes.
And in the brownies running the rope.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So I've been through that. So explaining and talking to the children, and besides I had other adults, friends of mine performing as well.
Right.
So it was not only the children, I had adults. It was like I had about 3-4 adults, and then you had the children, about 3-4 children, and the little boy and stuff like that. Then you had one of my friends, her son was a little older, so he would carry the bucket. So when the children would finish dancing the flag, we presented the flag right in front of the Prime Minister in the bucket. It was just a whole choreography.
Yes, it was a whole production.
Yes, and even the eyes right. We had the eyes right so down packed. But I told them, this is stage. And I always, when I choreograph and I present, I always tell the children, whoever it is, we are performing for the last man on the stand to see us. Not only for those in front, those in the middle. We want the last person to see what we're doing. So we perform large.
Yeah.
All the movements are large. You smile large. Your movements. So I train them like that. It's like a training. Because I look at different videos today, what the children do, and I'm like, then you training. So I train them to perform with that sort of broad aspect.
Yes.
And I told her, we did the eyes right. We did the eyes right. Eyes right.
Yes.
Right? Right. I said, eyes right. So they use their left hand because the left hand was, there were more people on that side of the stage.
Okay.
So them to understand what we're doing, and the children, the little girl, she's screaming, eyes right, and she spin her head to the left side, to the right side, and we had them because they didn't expect that. I always say I choreograph in a way people do not expect. I do not give them the norm. Yeah.
You had your audience in mind and how the performance could reach them. But
Yes.
beyond visually reaching them, were the audience able to connect with the culture that you were expressing through dance? Were they primarily diasporic audiences, or were there American audience members sprinkled there? Like, how were they able to connect through that cultural bridge?
Yes. Yes. I had audience of all nationalities. I had Dominican audience as well as Caribbean audience, American audiences, and mixed, because I'm in New York, so you find all nationalities go to the shows, and if they're exposed to it, they go. So my work, I choreograph and dance, and I've taught to dance in a way that it will appeal to everyone.
Right.
I do not teach ballet only to appeal to Dominica ballet. No, I'm in America. That's what people do, yeah. But no, my group has been very different.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been told, oh, you have taken ballet to a different level. Oh, that's not ballet. That's not Dominica ballet. Yes, it is, because all the ballet steps are included. But what I do, I will incorporate the other, the African beats, African movements, to give it a different flair, to give it a different statement, that you never forget Rosa dancing ballet. And thank God, today, people still talk about the group. Yes. The children are all grown now. I mean, they were children. Everybody's big. My daughter is 28 now. She has a degree. All the children have gone to university and stuff. And of course, we are older. It's not like when we started how many years ago. So I still perform, and I bring in, influences of Rosa dance and ballet in any performance I do. I do church performances. I do praise worship or whatever it is. I got to get the ballet in. I got to get in that ballet. I have to get in the market dance.
Yes, it's still an important part. I find that nowadays we don't put as much emphasis on children learning performing arts. Only if they venture into, going to the performing arts school, that they'll have exposure to it. It's no longer across the board for children to be memorizing poetry and reciting it and putting on performances. It's not as involved now. Everything has become quite cerebral or very much academic side. Yes, it's school, but cultural learning is a part of learning. So what are your thoughts regarding the lessening of performing arts among school children in the Caribbean and even where you are?
Yeah, well, for my take on that, it's like as the cultural and the lyrical cultural work is academic as well. Academic, they have limited academic to math, English, accountant, engineer. Yes. And they have forgotten that a human being is a spiritual being, and they have forgotten that a spiritual being is cultural. A spiritual being is not academic. It is academic because we go to school, yeah. That's what we are yeah. But the most important part of the being literally forgotten. I've been looking at, because I'm in New York and I'm very Dominican, West Indian. I watch everything. And I was looking at some awards being given and to the children, and it's for dance. But they're so focused on the dance, the ballet or the modern dance, which is great. But I don't see no award given for culture. I'm not talking about the Jamaican, how they do this new thing rolling the behind. I'm not talking about it. I'm talking about the ground roots.
Yes.
you know, the steel pan. Where is the award for the steel pan? So the child will be more enthusiastic to want to learn the pan because she will get an award. I don't see that. I see the award for the flute, which is fine. Which is fine. We need the flute, we need the theory, so we need to hear the flute and the violin and all that. Yes, yes, we do. The children need to learn that. Yes. What happened to the pan, which is ours?
Yes.
You know. So I think too, those who are teaching, maybe they don't know how to teach or anything about the culture. Maybe they should, before they teach or who hires them to teach, should instill that you must know something about the culture before you can take this job, so you can implement that as well as something else. You know, that's the way I see it, because I'm a cultural artist. I've always been that, never recognized at home as a cultural artist, but recognized in the States. I've got several awards. And people ask me, oh, you need to, how come you didn't get I said, I've been skipped. I've been skipped. I've been in the country for almost 50 years. I came in 1978. From 1979, I've been dancing ballet in New York. All over, I've danced for I have choreographed a routine for some young people at the Maryland State University for a cultural event that you're having, and they asked me to come from New York back and forth to train and to help them with the dance performance, which was a stellar performance. Of course, if I'm doing it, it's going to be a stellar performance. Yes, when you have the wop duet, you have the full gear of the Dominica thing, and we just blew their minds, you know. I have performed for the Knights of Columbus, several performances with the group. You know, I have touched many lives and changed many lives with the Dominica group ballet, because the ballet and the performances is not strictly Dominica, it's strictly Caribbean, West Indian. Because I could have taken the group to Jamaica. We get a full house because Jamaica will see themselves in the children's dancing. You know what I mean? So this is the way I have always been putting out my work in culture, and for the history of the culture as well. If that I hope I didn't go off the question.
You mentioned something interesting where you're not as recognized as a cultural asset in your home country, where so in America you are recognized for your artistic and creative contribution. And I find that is a commonality with a lot of the creative people within the Caribbean are not recognized until they are recognized by foreign audiences. And to this day, it is a commonality where you have to make it abroad first before you're recognized at home. So there's sometimes a lack of support, would you say?
Yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Most definitely. I performed for the Dominican Dominica Association Relief Cultural Organization for over 25 years. Then I was given an award by them for longevity, and creativity, and a whole very nice award, a plaque. No sooner I got an award, the Dominica Association in New Jersey gave me a trophy. Then I got another award from the in Connecticut. There's a Connecticut from the Mayor Finch in Connecticut in 2009. I got a big award for performing and bringing the culture out and connecting Dominica to the universe and stuff. And with culture, Dominica Ballet. Then I got another award from the Portsmouth Group in New York, all that's New York and America. I've been dancing ballet for 10 years, because right now I'm very much a senior, maybe you could realize. So, and they know. But I mean, I'm not going to ask them, why don't you give me an award? I deserve an award. Maybe it's not my time yet. Maybe not.
If you could change or suggest one thing to promote more recognition for local creators in the Caribbean, how do you go about bringing light to local creators and cultural assets?
how do I go about bringing light to them? Remove the prejudices from those in charge. Remove it from this sort of art, from the artistry. Remove it and accept people for who they are in the artistry. One should not have to be part of a clique or whatever to be recognized.
Mm-hmm.
Give someone due what is due to them. Don't wait too long to do that because you see what you're doing. You know what you're doing because nothing is hidden, especially in this day and age. Everybody has a cell phone. People are putting things on there. Before you wink your eye, everything is out on Facebook or wherever it is. You know, I don't know.
Okay.
But as I said, when Bob Marley made his song and stuff, and he said, a prophet is recognized in his own tongue, that sort of thing. You know, it is so correct. And I think in this day and age, you know, we should correct that because we have the knowledge now. It's not like time before when, you know, knowledge was few and far between.
Yes.
You know, everyone now is educated one way or the other.
Yes.
You don't need a PhD or the bachelor's degree to be educated. You know, everybody has it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I feel that you know, you know what people are doing. Nothing is hidden. Accept it and recognize it because it's not hidden.
Yes.
You know, that's, I don't know, maybe but that's the way I see it.
Yes.
You know, give people a chance. Let them feel worthy. Let the little man feel worthy. And give them a chance. Show them recognition because it's important for their self-esteem. For me, I don't care no more.
You're past that.
Yeah, bigger than that, you know. But I say it's their loss if you know, if that's the way. But I see younger ones coming up behind me, and you know, they feel the sting. It was a sting, but then, you know, I don't know.
What you say is thank you, and you make some very good points there. It's that when it comes to self-esteem, when it comes to the creative field, it's, I don't want to say ambiguous, but it is important to know that you're supported by your community.
It is very important to feel, not only to know, but to feel it.
Yes.
You know, I know that I get a lot of support in Dominica, not in Dominica, in New York. When I go to the Dominica Association functions and so, I mean, everybody, you gonna dance? Why you not dancing? Why aren't you dancing? You gonna dance? And when I go to perform, everybody gets up because they want to get to know what I produce out there. They know what I'm going to give them. It's
Right.
nothing show off. It's just part of my being. It's nothing an act. It's part of my, it comes out so natural. And the thing is, I did not only keep it to myself, I taught it.
Yes.
I taught people enough so they can have their own group.
And that is a very good way of endorsing and building your community, both your immediate community, but also the diasporic community, because they now know that there's a bridge from Dominica going elsewhere, and the bridge continues to expand. So that's a good way that you show love and you encourage your work to continue on into the next generation.
Yes.
Now, could you like briefly tell me, when it comes to your community, what do you love about your work with your community, and how you can, you know, guide them and teach them about parts of the culture that they may not have access to, or, you know, something that is no longer as prevalent, that was very important to your childhood, but nowadays it's not really around as much anymore.
Right. Well, I could say I have several communities because where I am in New York is one community.
Yes.
Where I go to the Dadas is another community, and there's Dominica.
Yes.
So I think I could speak on well, I mentioned acceptance.
Yes.
You know, just realizing that the ballet and the culture are all the same. All the same. You know, the Spanish culture, the footwork is the same as the other West of the Caribbean culture. It's just the same. I could say I'm thinking of the I want to make sure I answer the question accordingly, because there's so much that can be said about that topic. There's so much. But for me, it's acceptance, accept each other's culture. You know, that is when I was to teach, you know, the Rosa Dance and Ballet group, and I also taught other children and other groups, you know. That's one of the things I always says, you have to accept each other's culture to be able to move on, and to be able to grow with what you have. You have to accept each other's culture. When I used to teach, if they do not get someone who get a step, I would let that young student or an adult student show me what they know and work around it to incorporate their way of the culture into what I'm doing. You know, as far as the community, that's what I would do. You know, it's just a matter of accepting them, being around them, and not being selfish with what we know, being able to expose it. You know, does that qualify for your answer?
Brilliant. Yes.
For instance, I'll give you a small example. I went to Bolivian, New York, with all the different nationalities. There was a parade, Bolivia dancers. And I went with my daughter, just walking down the street, and I saw the dance. And it was strictly ballet. I was so thrilled, I couldn't believe it. I said, these people are doing ballet. All the ballet steps. Well, of course, they have the Spanish or Portuguese name for the steps. We have the back foot, we have the piche, we have the front to it. All the steps that they were doing in the ballet is what we do. I was dancing along with them, and everybody said, "Oh, I didn't know you knew to dance. Oh, are you from Bolivia?" I said, "No, I'm from the Caribbean, and we all do the same thing." And I was gone that day. I spent a whole long morning following that parade, going from one end all the way down, dancing the steps and following everything that they're doing. So that just tells you we are so connected in the culture. But it's the important thing is to be able to accept each other for who we are, that we are able to learn, and it can be a balance. Be able to learn anything. That's one of the, yeah. That's one of the great points.
They say music is a universal language. Would you venture to say dance also a universal language?
Yes, most definitely. Most definitely. Music theory, music practical. Music comes in dance, music comes in poetry, because you do the poetry before you do the song, before the music comes in, you put the tune to it. Most definitely, it the makeup of the whole artistry is through music. And without that, it's in limbo. It's like it has no rasa, it has no nectar without that creative sauce in it. That's how I say it. Most definitely the cultural dancing of all nationalities are the same. If you check well enough, you see the same footwork. Maybe dance a little faster, maybe dance a little more variation, but it's the same thing. I was able to, there was a group, police, they had some ceremony for the police dogs outside, where I work. And walking from lunch, taking my lunch hour, I stood up and I was looking at these ladies. It's a whole different culture from Europe. And you know what I did? I joined them with my coat, my boots, everything on me. And one of the girls took a picture. I joined these ladies. They were doing, I think they're from Ukraine. I think it was a Ukraine thing. And they were doing their Ukraine dance, the dance, the cultural dance of that area.
Yeah.
And all the police and all the chiefs of police and all these people. And they calling me to come, because I'm there on the side of the road doing the steps, dancing the steps. I joined these ladies, and I did a whole circle of the footwork with them. It's the same thing we do. We put our foot down, they put their foot up, but it's the same step. I'm like, these people are doing ballet. I'm like, these people are doing ballet. I said, look at the picture. And I'm dancing. So they're wondering how I know it. How I know it because I'm a cultural artist, and where we come from is full of culture. So I'm able to pick it up. you know, and I was able to pick up the same thing they were doing. Because there's absolutely no difference, absolutely no difference. You know, like if you look at a good West African performance and you hear those drums and these drums start talking to you, drums start talking to your spirit, automatically the spirit moves. The spirit will move and the steps would move. It just follows automatically. There's nothing to say, oh, I don't know this. Yes, you do. A Caribbean black woman cannot say they don't know. Yes, you do. Because you know how to move. The spirit of the drums would move you. It automatically moves you. So only we are just here. We conditioned to think that, oh, we cannot do this. Oh, that's only for these type of people. Oh, that's only for the country people. Oh no, you can't do it because oh, look at where you came from. We conditioned, brainwashed to think these things. But no, everyone is connected through the dance and culture. It's amazing. It's an amazing thing. It's amazing because one comes from the Caribbean, one comes from Ukraine, another one comes from Africa, another one from all over the world. And there's one little thing, the culture.
Yes, connects.
Yeah, the connection is just the same. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna wrap up soon, but I wanted to ask you, like, what are your dream outcomes when it comes to sharing and accessing your culture and
Well,
your drive for performance and outreach?
outreach. Well, I'll start by saying I'm putting eventually I'm going to when I'm writing Oceans of Thoughts. That's 3-part series of poetry, and there's a lot of Dominica history in the books. I am going in one of my in the series. I'm going to be talking about my dance experiences. You know, that part of my life where so the, I'm going to put in my choreography and everything. Everyone has asked me, are you going to share your choreography? Yes, but I'm going to share it in the books. You know, this is one of the act like a dream that you mentioned, the dream, you know, to do this sharing of Rosalind Severin McClean in Oceans of Thoughts for dance and culture, literally dance, arts, and culture. You know, that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to doing. I'm hoping it comes through. I try not to speak about what I'm going to do, but just to get it out there. Everyone has been asking, many people have asked, those who know me dancing, people, not only Dominican people or Caribbean people, people, you know, from across the board, they who have met me, who I speak to, and stuff like that, they ask, you know, when am I going to share, you know, because I mentioned to you that I dance with church performances as well. Because if everyone looks at my YouTube, Oceans of Thoughts YouTube, they would see some of the videos on there from some of the church performances. So that's a way of sharing the ballet and the dance culture in the church with a different audience, totally different audience. How I'm able to incorporate this type of dancing to worship. And it blows their mind, you know, that I'm doing the vigorous ballet too, but in a worship, that a person worship that they're able to connect with it, you know. So I'm just sharing my work in any form, through poetry, through my books, through performances, through speaking, doing speaking engagements as well, you know, doing open mic as well. So that way I'm able to share and connect. And that's like, it may not be a dream like someone else will speak of, but that's it. It's more focused on the sharing of my story, my Caribbean story to the others, to the world. Yes.
And I suppose putting pen to paper, it allows a sort of permanence because a performance is good, but a performance also has its limitation.
Yes, because that's most definitely because with a book, putting pen to paper, doing a book, a documentary, or any of the sort, it's more life, has a longer lifespan than when you just do a performance. Even if you have the performances on a video or whatever, after a while it becomes stale because they will say, oh, we saw it already. But it depends on what kind of performance. Because I know with Rosalind and ballet performances, it's never stale. Right. Because what's in there, it speaks to you so well. it speaks to your core. And that is what I've been able to do, even with my books, to allow my work and my vision, my inspiration to speak to the core, and you start thinking of you and what you could have done and how it relates to you, how it resonates with you, So you absolutely, absolutely, you have to it speaks. You need to be able to have your work be on a lifespan, not just for now or for the next 5 years. Now, many of the songs that I hear, going back to that, many of the songs that I hear out there, the tunes in the Caribbean, they can't be played for a lifetime.
No, it's
No, they're
very
not today.
temporal. It's very short lifespan.
Yes.
It's no longer for longevity. It's
Exactly.
for immediate entertainment.
Yeah, because of the education. I think it's more education that's lacking. Because entertainment and the entertainment industry, because all I've done up here in the States, I've been on stage, for the last 50 years, doing modeling. I had my own modeling school in Dominica. I had my own groups and and I also choreograph live shows like production, not only modeling shows, but actual choreography to have performances. I've done many up here in the States. But what I realized that what's happening today in the music industry, in the dance industry, is very short-lived. What is this? What are you teaching the children today to do something for no substance? It has no substance. Just shaking of the body and whatever they're doing. That has no substance. It can't last. We need to teach the children of the day, the youth of the day, or the people of the day, something of quality that's going to last. So the generations to come will know what we did and will be able to learn from it. Look at Bob Marley, for instance. Bob Marley can never die. He just dead in the flesh. His work can never die. His spirit can never die. Because Bob Marley spoke from the inspiration that educated, according to him as an education, he always spoke, it's an education. Sometimes I mimic his way of speaking.
Yes.
He was an education by himself. What he spoke, how he spoke, his messages was an education. What's happening today? Where is the education today? They're shaking up the butt or whatever, I'm talking about. And I think that is where what has faltered. That's why you find the lyrics or whatever it is for today can never be longevity. How? The words, the lyrics, whatever it is that they're saying. No, it's not. It's all what we do. Everybody jump to the music and stuff. But thinking of it, is that what you want your children to identify with? Some things are very good. Yes, some things are very enjoyable. I enjoy everything. But then when you think of it, you wonder. You wonder what's happening to our creativity, what's happening to our music, our lyrics, our theory, what's happening to our dance productions, what's happening to the stage, what's happening to the smiles on the faces when the performers are performing. There's no smile. Everybody upset, everybody face serious. What's happening to that? Why are the performers for the different dance groups, why are their faces so serious or so sour? What's going on? Why are the movements so limited? Why are the movements large? Is it only for ballet and this other kind of dancing that you must extend your hand and extend your foot? If you cannot do it one way, try another way, but get it done and get it done right. But that's how it is today. That's just how what's happening, with the culture today. Pardon me?
Yeah, I was going to say with the culture today, it's very interesting.
Yeah, that's what's happening. And another thing I noticed, we elders, because thank God, I'm turning 69. So at that age, as far as they're concerned, we don't have no say. We passed our time, we did this already. They figure, well, you had your time. This is our time. So they don't want to learn from us. So it's up to us to keep on putting it over there. Generally that's how it is. And all through the Caribbean, because I have a lot of where I work is like multicultural,
Yeah.
you know. So we talk and we exchange ideas, and everybody talks the same thing. You know, even Europeans, and you know, they say the same thing, that the youth of today on this thing, that we elders, we had our time. So you find, well, that's what's happening. That's why everything's so short-lived. But we didn't say that when we were growing up, that they had their time. We learned from them, and we were happy to get the knowledge from them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
I suppose that is a switch in the mentality.
yes, yeah, that's I believe that definitely is an issue here.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely is one of the greatest issues. You know, maybe some of the intellectual might find it different, because everybody has their own opinion.
Mm-hmm.
These are my opinions, you know. Everybody has their own opinions and own interpretations to everything. You know, what I will interpret one way, another educated person may do another way, but that doesn't mean to say it's wrong.
No.
It means to say there's a balance, because everybody has a different interpretation.
Yes.
You know? Yeah.
And it's a perspective, and perspectives shift over time.
Yes, most definitely. Yeah. And that's the long shot of the whole thing, you know, everybody, you know. And as long as it can be accepted and respected, that's another big word in culture, you know, for all the conversation, the another big word in culture is respect. Respect culture and how it's done.
Yes.
Because dance performance is taught, yes, but each individual interprets that dance performance the way they can do it.
Yes.
That doesn't mean to say that that individual is wrong. If I remember taking a dance class, and the teacher was a Trinidadian teacher, and I used to tell him, "Oh, I can't point my toes. I cannot kick so high up." You know, that was the Afro-Caribbean dancing. And I used to tell him, and he looked at me and he says, "I can't kick high up either." And he showed me how far he could kick. You're pointing his toes. Yeah. I say, "Oh, well, then okay, well, I'm good now. I'm good." Yes. You know, because I realized even the dance teacher himself, you know, as professional as he is, you know, and his work is just tremendous, that he showed me that it's accepted how far I could go. And with that, I take that learning and pass it on. Yes. So when I have a group, when I teach a group, I teach them what I would like them to do. And I look at what each one can do and how far they can go. And I work on what they can do and make them shine in what they can do. Yes. So it's not a matter of I'm taking for myself. No, they're shining in what they can do. So if they can move their arm a certain way, we're going to move that arm that way all through the thing and walk around it. So you will shine by moving your arm, you know. And that's how I have taught all through up here. Yes. You know, that's how I have done it. Yeah.
There's a beauty in acceptance and understanding where you are does not mean that you can't go further.
Exactly. It doesn't mean you can't go further. It means that you got a basic. You have the basic, you have the grassroots, you have the know-how. Yes. You have the know-how. It's up to you to expand on it. It's up to you to expand. Yes. That's how I learned. I learned ballet from two young girls named, one is Roy Balmore, but she's Roy Russell. I think she's in St. Croix or so now. That's when she was, we were all teenagers at the time. Her sister and another friend, you know, everybody's grown up now. But at the time, we were all teenagers. And she taught me the basics of the ballet. I think she remember she saying that she got it from, she learned ballet in Granby, one of the villages. Yes. So I got the rel, and everybody was laughing at me. Why do you want to learn ballet? You didn't come from that. I said, well, I just need to know it. And I expanded on what I learned. And I just took it to a whole different scale. You know, and I tell my students, whoever my student is at the time, because as long as I'm going to teach you a student, whether it's 10 of you in the group, you're my 10 students for that particular period of time. So I will teach you and treat you as you're my student. Because that's the only way we're going to learn, I'm going to learn to transcend the information is, and to get that respect. And even if you're best friends, but as long as you're in the class with me, I'm your teacher, you're the student. So I'm able to move the information across. Yes. After the class, we're back to friends again. But then you have to, that's the only way. And I think a lot of times too, that sort of respect and energy does not move. It does not shift. It does not shift right. I don't know. I think so, because from my experience, I'm talking about my experience now.
Yeah. We want your story.
Yeah, yeah. It may sound different to other people, but that's my experience.
Yes.
And it has worked. The way I have done it, through the inspiration above that directs my path, because I can't do anything without that. That's first. I can't do anything without that holy inspiration. I mean, I get the vision, I get the emotion, I get everything through that. The choreography too. I see it, and I tell someone the girls want to change. I said, no, this is what I saw. What do you mean? I said, this is what I saw. That's how we're going to do it, and then it works. Yeah. So I have, that's the only way that this message of dance can transpire. It's an inspiration. It can't be any other way. Because actually, the only thing I learned was the ballet. And then I went to the African classes and everything. But according to the teacher, and she's right, it took me a long time to understand what she meant. When I dance, I just don't dance. I dance, I float. It's like I go to Central Park and I put my things down on the bench or whatever, because people are drumming, and I start to dance to those drums, and it's like I inspire the drummers to keep on drumming and to do other beats with the drums. And when I'm done, they say, "What were you doing?" I said, "I don't know. I was flying. I feel like I'm totally transformed. I feel like I'm lifted, like I am dancing, but I'm just not me. I'm like floating. When I'm performing, it's like I'm floating, like I'm just traveling. I'm traveling through that motion of dance."
Yes.
That's when you let the being, you let the spirit from within and your being do the work, and not you do it yourself. And that's a lot of times you find that happens. People want to do it, so they do it according to how they want to do it. No, let your being do the work. I remember being thrown out of the theater in Dominica, because I was dancing. I had absolutely no idea. I wasn't following the instructions of the gentleman who was doing the whose group it was. But that's what they said. That's what was happening. And when I came up here to the States, that's when I realized, and the way I'm performing, the way I was dancing, and they started talking to me. Other people telling me how I'm dancing. And then I started to realize maybe that's what happened. Why but I never danced with anybody in Dominica. They never, we wanted to come, our group wanted to come to Dominica, that's back in 2007, I think it was, to perform, to do a performance in the Arbach Cinema back in the days. And the children were ready, I was ready, we were all ready to go to Dominica to do that performance. We would have sold out. We would have sold out, because the children's background in different countries, where they're from villages, they have a lot of following. We didn't get that opportunity. But that was their loss, because we got opportunities in New York across the board.
Yes.
I mean, I danced for CACI, that's the Caribbean American Association in New York. I danced at our group performed at the Surrey Courthouse for the Caribbean Festival. I mean, I danced across the board. We went to Maryland, we went to Long Island, we went to Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens. I mean, we danced across the board. We were, so, I mean, who didn't want us to perform? It was a hit, but then we got other opportunities.
Yeah.
And we got several other opportunities. And we still are. People are still asking me. I said, the children are grown now. They're not going to want to dance.
What do they say? When a door closes, a window opens.
Always. Yes.
But yeah,
And
yeah.
was that?
No, go ahead.
No. Yes, and that's been a big experience, and that's what how we have a motto. That was my motto. Well, one door closed, another one open. A window will open somewhere, especially for the dancing. I mean, that was such a passion, especially for my dad. Even with my books, well, the books is on a different line, because I'm pushing the promotions for my books. But the dancing, and when you're dancing for other people. I used to tell the girls, I always tell all the groups that I perform that I remember I did one, I choreographed a performance for a group at the St. Joseph College in Brooklyn. That was an African piece, but I taught them ballet in it,
Mhm.
you know, and that just took over that show. We just took over the show. You know, so I had a lot of Caribbean students in there too. They were, I think, some Grenadians and Jamaicans, and so it is college students, but they're different places,
Backgrounds, yes.
right? Different backgrounds, yeah. So I did several work in this, and something I always told them that um when you're performing for such a wide audience, not for only the audience you see in the room. You're never performing for the audience, only the audience you see in the room. You're performing, but when they leave, they could talk about you.
Yes.
That's what you're performing for. And I think I got this when I was doing modeling school. This is some of the things they taught us in modeling school. You know, like when you're performing, you don't perform only for the room. You perform for outside.
Mhm.
Because you want, when your show is over, they call you back, they talk about you, and your name moves out. Your name goes out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
And
a good performance can go a long way. A good
long way.
introduction goes a long way.
Yes,
Yeah.
most definitely. Yes.
Right. But I think we have to wrap up now.
Okay.
Yes. But this has
Yes.
been a brilliant interview, and I'm
Oh,
so inspired by your passion.
thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. I appreciate this.
Anyway,
Definitely,
it's
yeah.
really fascinating hearing all of the stories and hearing your recollection of, just starting out and how you developed along the way and the connections you were able to make. That was brilliant. So thank you for sharing, and thank you
Thank
for
you too.
making the time.
Yes. Yes, and I'll do it again. Whenever you want to ask me anything or connect with me, we have each other's connection. And
Yes.
most definitely, it's a pleasure to meet you as well. You're such a lovely lady.
Thank you.
Yes, you are. Because I had absolutely no idea what I was going to meet and what is happening. That's why I was asking, what are we going to talk about?
Oh yeah, it's
To see.
storytelling.
Yes, so I'm really appreciative of this interview. And yeah, well, hopefully too, you will follow me in Oceans of Thoughts.
Yes.
Follow my book series.
Follow the series, and we'll be in contact with you with for the recordings and everything.
Oh yes. Thank you so much. I really would like that, because I would like to put it on to share it also. Because I will share it on my YouTube with other people to be able to have an idea, have the interview too. I really appreciate your time. I mean, it was very lovely, very lovely.
Oh yeah, thank you, and have a good day.
Thank you too, and continue enjoying Jamaica. How is it weather out there? Talking about that.
Oh, it's not bad today. It's cool but also sunny. We're not
Okay.
yet in the summer heat, thankfully.
Okay.
We're still
Yes.
waiting for the mangoes to come in. Everything is
Oh,
blossoming now, so we're waiting for
yeah.
the mangoes. The East
Yeah.
Julie.
Oh my God. Mouth-watering mangoes. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. It's lovely here. I mean, we're still in the winter, but today's a spring day. It's like a spring day, so it's lovely. Accepting it as it is. Giving
Yes.
thanks and praise for
Yes.
the holy inspiration coming in through the sun and the air. The beautiful skies.
Yes.
Yeah. Just have to give
All right.
thanks. Yeah. Thank you so much. I
Always.
appreciate your time.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. So I'm going to end the
Okay then.
meeting now. Bye.
Yes. All right. Bye. Thank you. Okay.